Hello, and welcome to my storage unit. What are you doing here? Are you going to come help me clean? Oh, I so need some help. It's a mess in here. What was that? What did you say? Oh, you want to hear a story? Oh, I love telling stories. Absolutely. Well, come on in. Come sit down, and I will tell you a story. Yes. Oh, good. Well, I like to start my stories by saying once upon a time, a long time ago. Well, this wasn't actually so long ago. This was just recent. I do have a story. So are you listening? Okay. All right. Look at here. This reminds me of the story, actually. Now, the buckets in my story were actually white, not red, but nevertheless, it's a bucket story. So my family and I were up at Sandpoint Beach playing one Shabbat, and it was a beautiful day. And we were done, and we started going home. Well, on the highway, as we go down from Sandpoint to Coeur d'Alene, it's beautiful. There's so many farms and fields and lots of happy cows. I call them happy cows when I see cows. Lots of space, and they're dotting the landscape, and they're just having a wonderful time eating and doing what cows do. Well, one of the farms that we came by on the left-hand side as we're going down, all of a sudden I saw a very weird sight. There were happy cows, but there was one cow that wasn't so happy. This cow had his head stuck in a bucket. So he actually had the handle around his head, and his face was stuck in the bucket. So obviously the bucket had some grain in it, and he somehow had gotten his head stuck in the bucket. So we're flying down the highway at 60 miles an hour. I'm driving. I start to slow down. I look at that as we're flying by. I see this cow, and I'm like, that cow can't get this bucket off. And so we turn around and go back, and I'm like, I can't leave this cow here like this. And interesting that all the other cows around were trying to help this cow get the bucket off its head. They were sniffing around, didn't know what to. They were all kind of huddled around him trying to help. So we drove up the country road, hoping that there'd be a farmhouse beyond that this cow belonged to, someone there. And so we get up to the house. I knock on the door, and it opens, and there's like 7 kids that come running to the door. And one of them comes and jumps into my arms, and I'm like, okay, I don't even know you. Where's your parents? And down from the upstairs comes walking Mom, and she said, yes. And I said, well, I think if this is your cow, there's a cow in your pasture that has its head stuck in a bucket. And she said, oh, again? And so she came out, and we walked down, and she got the bucket off the cow's head. I thought that was a fun story. That's a fun story. Kids, don't ever jump into strangers' arms when they come to your front door, okay? That's not a good idea. Thankfully, I'm a nice person, but yeah, just don't do that, okay? And also, if you see an animal in need, stop and help, okay? Yes, we are humans. We were created to have dominion over the animal kingdom. We're supposed to take care of the animals. So take care of your animals. And if you see an animal in trouble, definitely take care of them too. I think Papa will really like that. All right. Well, thank you for coming by for my little short story. And as I like to say at the end of my stories, and they lived happily ever after. So perhaps that cow and that herd will live a long time very happily now. Although, if he has a habit of getting his head stuck in a bucket, perhaps this issue will come up again. But may you live happily ever after. Bye-bye.